Yo, this beat actually really hard.
UPK shit, South Coast shit, man. Shout out Bar Dog, Tennessee, up that business. Hey, get the money, hey. I don't know the fuck going on out there, motherfucker, man. Hey. Get the money, nigga. Taste the paper, bitch. Keep all of your morals, never slave for shit.
Yo, this beat really hard.
South Coast. Yeah, I'm up, nigga. Man, fuck all of these hoes, get the bucks beats. I'm a young rich nigga, I ain't tryna flex. You can tell I'm cold by the ice around my neck. Straight up BBS, I charge you, boy, you wanna test. I don't get no shot up by the nigga all cause a nigga keep it real. Nigga hell, take that drip, but get spill. I ain't little flip, getting pimped. Straight G-Do, getting paper like a me sustain. If you tryna hang, you be cared about it, bang, boy, we rap. Nigga tryna talk. Straight up BBS, I charge you, boy, you wanna test. I don't get no shot up by the nigga or bitch. Boy, I love the life I live, cause a nigga keep it real. Nigga freshly hell, take that drip, but get your spill. I ain't little flip, getting pimped up out of his. I'm a straight G-Do, getting paper like a miso. That's that South Coast stain, if you tryna hang. You be cared about it, bang, boy, we rap the same. Nigga tryna talk, but we rap that murder game. Get your ass pop, ain't nothing to a G. Bitches wanna fuck, but hell no, I don't pay no fee. Bitches lead too deep, got that ice, I make you sneeze. All these niggas lame as hell, can't even come around me. Bitches South Coast, South Carolina, bitch, I'm styling, yeah.
Really no demons get control of me, no money get the best of me, no bitches getting on both of me. Don't want much nigga, I'm so free. That's the way it gotta be. These niggas chain, these bitches chain, y'all chain to soak me. For real, this brotherhood a weapon, and bitch we carry weapons. Like a rob on nigga ass won't even need a weapon. And y'all be reputation, and y'all be well respected. And if you got a problem, then y'all better address it. You cross that line, we ain't show no mercy. Cross that line, you ain't gon' need search. We pull up and they get nervous. You ain't making no move, you ain't got no purse. On UPK, so I ain't never worried. I'm putting the murk, both of my hands dirty. For real, I learned from the OGs. I'm a young nigga, but I'm a certified priest. And I'm from Tennessee. In this mandatory that I gotta keep my heat. You should play it safe, and we gon' play for keeps. For real.
I don't give a love to fuck about what them bitches gotta say. I'm a woman where's a nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't give a love to fuck about what them niggas gotta say. I'm a one West nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't care about what they say. Hey. Fuck with my Akima, fuck with my sisters, then I got a problem, I'm never gonna miss you. I got 100 hanging out the AR, I got a 50 hanging out the pistol. He say it's corner, I'm just being realistic. I be on them corner posted with the realest. If it's the Sabbath, then we going fishing. I'm reeling them in, that's a God-given mission. I'm really on 10, but I'm stamped in the pistol. I get the order, be glad of this mission. Hebrew Academy graduate, nigga. Training, go through the baddest conditions. I don't fuck with none but the baddest of bitches. She righteous, submissive, she glad to be with me. Had that thing Putin like had that thing Putin like Vladimir, niggas, she know I'm a prophet. She gotta be listening. Disrespect, I ain't having that shit. Tell her go make some business from scratch. She bitchin' the different breed of black men. We don't do the back bend. I remember back when I was really trapping, trying to get the dope to back men. But now I'm trying to make it straight. Like, don't forget about my face. We standing up straight, can't fold us. Too heavy, the world won't hold us. Go get you some rank, I told you. Line up in these ranks, we soldier. You can take that to the bank, we focus on. How many times must we remind you? One body, one breath. Some break off and never take off, that's a flex. When the law with you ain't no up next. It's just us, nigga, that's that on that. All that weak shit, that ain't no threat. Say you won't beat, bitch, with that ain't no sweat. We with all that. The Lord called a nigga out the world. I responded and called back. Oh, Lord. And everything that they stole from us, fuck that shit, we want all that. Them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come on the command and general, your hunter, we unaffiliated with them. Like they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine, that's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. That's why we unaffiliated with them. I cannot fuck around with fake niggas. We taking ground when we in your city. You better have the women, have the liquor. Keep that bitch on me, please don't but the same. Don't be a fool and be another victim. Say you a goon, you just another Christian. How you my brother, you ain't in here with me. We in the gutter, deep down in the trenches. We with them niggas locked up in the prison. Black and Hispanic, Native American, Indian. We ain't just talking shit, but we living in it. We be everywhere, you can't miss it. And we be precious hell, take a picture. And we special now with the scriptures. Play, we gon' script them, yeah, we some killers. These niggas tripping, they mind blown. Swear business, forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't think they pause when niggas say that they be looking for niggas to slide on. The slide that I know about is when I assemble the Glock with the slide on. Real, I get the order, you know that it's slaughter. See me and my niggas gon' die. The bigger the better for kingdom of heaven. You niggas get wet up by me cause I'm fed up. I rep UPK. My niggas won't let up. Got choppers, got 9s, AKs, Berettas. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with what me and my nigga like, bitch, it whatever. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with what me and my nigga like. My nigga like, niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we that's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come on the command and general, your hunter, we unaffiliated with them. Like they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah. See, they always ask us like, why y'all fuck with such and such? Why y'all won't come together with such and such? I be like, we unaffiliated with them. You understand me? Like, niggas be out here on some weirdo shit. And to be honest, that's why we unaffiliated with them. Hey, that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah.
Okay.
Homie, I've been
There's a king that's coming back to save our people. Now, we should be preparing ourselves for the return of our king, not stuck up in these denominations and religions that's destroying our people and destroying our nation.
So when we are in this kingdom and a brother and a sister is doing wickedly in this kingdom, we must tell them, look, the world is expecting you to stay docile, to stay stupid.
That's what Christianity teaches our people. Teaches our people to hate one another and love the oppressor. Like, we'll never forgive one another for anything that another brother or sister do to us, but we'll forgive the oppressor in a heartbeat. There's something wrong with that, man.
Imagine living your life as a whole Christian your whole life, and life's good because you're a Christian and Jesus is white and everything's going great, and there's a landslide and the earth opens up and you go downstairs and you walk through this place and you see a black Jesus, man. Why is Jesus Christ black with an afro in the catacombs, man? This predates the Renaissance period.
So when you read the book of Genesis, the trees in the garden with other nations, a leaf, what is a leaf to a tree? Cover the tree. So Adam took the covering of another nation. What's the covering of another nation? Their culture. So when the Most High saw him and said, yo, Adam, where are you, man? Why are you? Don't mean I can't find you. He was like, who is this nigga? Where are you, man? I don't know you.
Okay. So the Ba al Banya Yasha'ala wa Amarath al Hamma wa Aidya Yahau. The Ba means speak. Al, when it's joined with something, so al Banya means what? Unto, right? Excellent. So al when it's joined with something means unto. Banya means children. Yasha'ala is Israel. So unto the children of Israel.
Like if it's one thing a hoe gonna do, a hoe gonna hold. But you ain't, she can't hold if there's nobody to hold with. And the thing she said at the end, where she said, I went back and I lied to him and he still wouldn't do it. And then she threw up her hands and she said, well, he'll just be a brother. That's what the we need.
That's
brothers.
Right.
If we have more brothers, hoes like her wouldn't have no outlet.
There was a man in the land of Oz, his name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright.
There you go, the man called Job. I think Job is what, like afflicted. And that man was perfect and upright, meaning what? You can be perfect, man. Job was a man like everybody else, man. Job wasn't no angel, he didn't come from the heavens, and that man was perfect, meaning what? You can be perfect in the Bible. Being perfect is in the Bible.
Had fringes on my coattail way before Jimmy. Funny how the general ain't even see a penny. Better show respect, get smoked like a chimney. Keep my name out your mouth, don't even think it. Send a real Smith at y'all, no Jada Pinkett. Both ball heads, my grain above 50. Lost my man to the game, that pain that stuck with me. Had to find a cheat code to the street though, cause them niggas getting foul, shoot you like a free throw. Keep spitting acid like a Mino, and the nigga be the nicest with a mean flow.
I just float with it. Fuck what you did, I'm at your throat with it. You can learn something, take a note with it. Dedicated my life, I took an oath with it. For the blood of my brothers, we don't do no switching. I run with who I run with, ain't no clicking. Try me, do you done with no decision. Lead a scene like a Mack truck with 4 collisions. Pose everywhere, but they ain't gon' vote dissing. Coming at you live and direct, I don't do no dissing.
Hey, shalom, Israel, shalom. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Barak Tham to all my brothers. Yahweh Shema Ala Tham Bashim Yahweh Shai to my sisters. Hope y'all is doing too well this Thursday. You know what I'm saying? This real-time revelations. The show hosted by myself, Officer 500 for Alban. We do this show every Monday and every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Just going over and talking about, you know, what's going on in the UK, what's going on in the wider world, you know, the impacts of the UK. He's talking about, you know, giving you the biblical breakdown, the biblical perspective on what's going on. All right. Now, shalom to everybody that's watching the live. Let me see, I see Kyla in the building. All right, shalom, princess. Yahweh Shema Allah Ta'ala Shema Shai. As y'all come in, and you know what I'm saying, as y'all come in and watching the video, make sure y'all drop a like, drop a comment on the video. You know what I'm saying, support what we're doing so we can get this thing going. We can get this thing out to more people, all right? Now, tonight's story is something I seen, you know, I came across recently. Now, we had covered the Grenfell, the story of the Grenfell incident, how they about to demolish that whole tower. Meanwhile, it's been 8 years since the fire broke out that unalived 72 people. All right, it's commonly referred to as, well, not commonly referred to, it is known as the most the biggest disaster when it comes to fires in fires of a residence, right? So we're going I'm gonna quickly cover for anybody who doesn't know what the Grenfell Tower fire is. We're gonna read very quickly about it. All right, let me get this article real quick. It's from BBC News. Grenfell's path to disaster that led to 72 deaths. All right. The Grenfell Tower fire that unalived 72 people in 2017 was the result of a chain of failures by governments, dishonest companies, and a lack of strategy by the fire service. The final report of the 6-year public inquiry has concluded. All right. So they're saying, this was a fire that essentially claimed the lives of 72 people. I'm saying mostly, migrants and those of the Windrush generation, predominantly non-white people, right? It claimed the lives of 72 people. I'm saying burnt down. People lost their lives, their family members, their homes. All right, in this fire that's commonly referred to as the biggest disaster, when it comes to anything to do with a fire, a residential area. All right. Now, fast forward to today. So recently, I'm saying they made the decision to go back on their word. So they have it's not really a monument, but they have the building right now. They've covered it in scaffolding and secured it. So it stands up as almost like a memorial itself, the actual building that was burned, right? They stood up as a building, as a memorial in a sense, and said that they weren't going to touch it, they weren't going to do anything to it for 8 years. All right. Now, it will be 8 years in July, but they decided very recently, I think earlier in this month or late last month, to just demolish it. All right. So they're going back on their word that they made a simple promise and they couldn't even wait a matter of months to just carry out that promise. All right. But they're tearing the building down. It hasn't been decided what's going to go in its place, whether it be a memorial. But the biggest thing is they tearing it down, and still to this day, no justice has been served. Right? Nobody is being held accountable for really the unaliving people. Like this ain't just negligence or you weren't doing your job properly. People were unalived because of this, right? So people have to be held accountable, brought to justice, right? So a story came out recently, that now they investigating the companies that had to do with the cladding and the reason the fire broke out, the reason it burned, not really the reason the fire broke out, but the reason it spread so quickly, and the reason people it claimed that many lives, right? So let's get into this article. Grenfell Tower, 7 organizations face debarment from government contracts. All right. Now, matter of fact, before we get into this, I'm gonna play this video, right? This is a video of the the Deputy Prime Minister. All right, the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, who has been involved or in charge of making decisions on the situation with the Grenfell Tower. Right. So we're gonna play this video, which outlines what she says about the whole thing. And then we're going to get into the story. We're going to see if she backs up the words that she's saying. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to play this video real quick for you all. So just off the top, all right, let's run this from the beginning. And shalom also to Sister Nazama. Shalom, sis. Yahweh Shema Thaba Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, so let's just repeat what she said. I'm gonna turn this up on my side so I can hear it a little bit. All right, let's just repeat what she said. So she said she announces today, Salakia. Says she announces today, right? Almost 8 years after the fire, after the incident, after the crime, right? Almost 8 years after it, they've announced today that they're investigating the companies. So it took almost 8 years to start investigating the companies that were involved or that were at fault for this building going up in flames within seconds, damn near, and unaliving 72 people. They're just now starting the investigation. And she says under what? Under new legislation? under the new procurement, also under something that came into play, something new that came into play last week. Now they're saying, okay, we have to do an investigation, I guess. Like it took 8 years. They is absolutely dragging their feet when it comes to actually getting justice for, you know, the people that lost family members, the people that were unalived, for the people that lost their homes, their livelihood. They've been dragging their feet for 8 years, and just now they're starting to investigate the companies that had to do with it. So she's saying, you know, the way these companies responded was disgusting, and they showed serious lack of care. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, right? Now she says something. I almost missed it. Right? She says they're going to investigate the companies and chart and you know what she said, something about professional misconduct. All right, let me run it from the top. She's investigating the 7 companies for professional misconduct. All right, so let's have a quick look into what is professional misconduct. All right, do a quick Google search. Professional misconduct is when a professional's behavior is unethical or illegal, or falls below the standards expected of their profession. Right. So example is like breaching confidentiality, negligence, failing to meet professional obligations. It says professional misconduct can result in serious consequences, including legal action, damages, and disciplinary action by their registration body. Okay, so they're saying, you know, they're going to look into them for professional misconduct, right? But when it comes to, okay, professional conduct is fine, but people were actually unalived. People were unalived, right? 72 people don't have their life anymore because of this. When it comes to that level of negligence, that's not just professional negligence. That's not what that is. I had to look into what that would be called. That is what you call gross negligence manslaughter. That's what that would be. All right, let's read into it. Let me show you that's what that would be. Gross negligence manslaughter is a serious criminal offense that occurs when someone's unaliving is caused by gross negligence. It's a type of involuntary manslaughter. How is gross negligence manslaughter defined? The defendant owed a duty of care to the deceased. These, you know, providers that are providing cladding and materials for housing that houses people, they owe a duty of care to the people that were unalived because of them. They owe a duty of care to, if they're cladding something, to make it with non-flammable material, not a material that fails every, you know, flammability test, that fails all of them. Oh, we know it failed all the fire safety tests, but let's slap it on there anyway. You know, we had to earn this bread. We had to earn this money. That is gross negligence manslaughter that caused the unaliving of 72 people. That's not just professional misconduct. That's not just a data breach. That's not just, you know, conflict of interest. That's serious gross negligence. All right. You know what I'm saying? And gross negligence, that you know, a sentence like that is hold on. A jury assesses whether the defendant's conduct fell below that of an ordinary person in the same situation. The consequences of a conviction can be serious. It can include things like jail time. That's really what should be, you know, what should be done. Not professional misconducts, not fines or anything. You know, we're gonna read into what it is they're planning to do to these companies, but they need more. More needs to be done than just a fine, than just. We're gonna read into what it is that they're saying they're going to do. All right, but let's play on in this video. So, they're investigating after 8 years. They're investigating these companies for professional misconduct, which really should be gross gross misconduct, manslaughter. All right, straight up and down. Hold on, let me get the audio playing. Give me 1 second. Could y'all hit Slack? Could y'all hear the audio before? I want to double check. I think it might have just stopped. I'm gonna reshare it. I'm gonna play it now. Let me know if the audio's Tawab is coming through for you. All right.
We're using every bit of legislation that we possibly can. The police has still got their investigation that's ongoing. I mentioned again today that the families are full of anguish and the community are, because they still haven't seen that justice yet. So we've announced today.
They're saying they're using every piece of legislation. You know, every piece. They're doing everything they can. Every piece of legislation to do what?
To the report's findings. We're using every bit of legislation that we possibly can. The police has still got their investigation.
They're using every piece of legislation they can, using all the laws they can to give some justice. Yeah, sure they are, but they're looking at professional misconduct as opposed to gross misconduct and manslaughter. But they're using all they're using every legislation. They're doing everything they can. I'm sure. All right, ate the water to Nazama. I appreciate it.
That's ongoing. I mentioned again today that the families are full of anguish and the community are, because they still haven't seen that justice yet. So we've announced today the investigation into those 7 companies under the new Procurement Act, and we will take whatever means we have to that's necessary to try and bring those to justice, those that have failed.
She just dropped the ball right there. Like she's pretending that she's actually doing something and wants justice for these people, right? She's saying, we're doing everything we can to try and bring justice to those people. She already knows no justice is going to be given to these people. She already knows it. That's why she didn't say we're going to bring these people to justice. We're going to give justice to the families of the deceased. She says, we're doing everything we can. We've started the investigation and we're going to try and bring justice. It took y'all eight years to start investigating and say you're going to try. What was y'all doing for the 8 years? Was y'all not trying then? Y'all wasn't investigating anything then? Like what y'all gonna try. You're doing everything you can, I'm sure, to try and give justice to those families. Right?
The Grenfell community so appallingly.
So you're gonna try, and hold on. Get just the end part. So
under the new Procurement Act, and we will take whatever means we have to that's necessary to try and bring those to justice, those that have failed the Grenfell community so appallingly.
We're going to try and bring those to justice that failed the Grenfell community. Okay. Now, well, let's read into, what the investigation is going to be. Let's read into this. All right. Grenfell Tower, 7 organizations. Oops, Salakia, hold on. Let me share this again. 7 organizations face debarment from government contracts. He didn't even mention anything about what professional misconduct, but we'll read on. Possible action. That's another thing. It says possible action comes. It's possible. It's possible we'll do something about it. Possible action. Like, what is we talking about? But comes as ministers announce plans to improve building safety and strengthen accountability. Okay, let's read on. 7 organizations involved in the Grenfell Tower disaster face possible debarment from public contracts. So again, all this is not even set in stone. It's possible. Possible debarment from public contracts as the government accepted all recommendations of the public inquiry into the devastating fire and set out plans for tough action on the construction industry. So what does that even mean? So they face possible debarment from public contracts. What does that mean? What is debarment? Okay, debarment essentially means you're banned, right? You're being banned. A public contract, let's get into what that is. A public contract is an agreement between a contracting authority and a supplier to provide services, goods, or works. Public contracts are legally binding and can be verbal or written. Okay, public contracts are awarded by organizations that use public funds. So it's things to do with the government or government funding. So these businesses are being banned from doing any not being banned. Salakia, I misspoke. These organizations face possible banning from public contracts, from working with anything to do with government funding. But they can still do other work. They can still do private contracts. They can still continue to provide people, they can still continue to earn money, even though they're responsible for something that unalived 72 people. And another thing, right? They're facing possible debarment from public contracts, right? After almost 8 years. So after 8 years of continuing to do business, continuing to earn money, continuing to do whatever it is they want to do, now they face possible debarment after 8 years, even though it's known that they're responsible. It's known that they're responsible. Another thing that's not mentioned, if you read further on in the article, and I'm sure you can, they're saying they're going to introduce all these suggestions by the report that to do with tightening up on government regulation, to do with building and safety and fire safety and so on and so forth, right? One thing they didn't mention, okay, now we know from this article, is it was a result of the chain of failures by governments, dishonest companies, and a lack of strategy by the fire service. Now, really, they're saying a lack of strategy by the fire service because they were unable to put out a fire that rose so quickly and was to do with a high-story building. Really, they're blaming the fire service, but it really wasn't their fault. How were they supposed to manage that? Like, they shouldn't really have been expected to manage a fire like that, because the cladding should be made of non-flammable material that would stop the fire from spreading so quickly. So really, that's just they're trying to spread the blame. Now I'm looking at the first part, right? A chain of failures by governments, dishonest companies. Okay, I see that they're including the dishonest companies in this holding of this possible holding of accountability, or no, not holding accountability, because we already mentioned gross misconduct manslaughter. That should be the charge. Possible debarment, possible banning of government contracts. Okay, where is the government being held accountable here? Like, who in the government is being investigated for misconduct? I don't see anything. I don't see anything in the report. I don't see nothing. Like, who is being held accountable there? And after 8 years, the only thing is they could possibly be banned from doing further business with government funding. That's it. And I guess they get, their name dragged. They get their name, named and shamed. Ooh, yeah, that's justice. Hey, shalom to Adolphus last. All right, all right. I'm gonna read into another article. Another article of why the hell did this report or this inquiry take so long? All right, I'm gonna share this article right here. This is from The Spectator. Why did the Grenfell inquiry take so long to tell us what we already know? Like, this is nothing new. We already knew this. We knew was at fault, but we knew who was at fault, Slakia. But, they had to wait for this report before they could begin investigations. They had to wait, 8 years before they could begin investigations. You know what that would tell me? Like, imagine you get caught out for doing something, and then there's going to be investigation, but not until 8 years into these companies, the company, not people, the companies. Are you telling me the people responsible wouldn't just leave and find another job, or just go work for a different company? Like, it's the companies that's being investigated, and they could just leave the company. They can just leave the company, and then they get off scot-free. But let's read on in this article. All right. Predictably enough, and not unreasonably, the 1,700-page final report into the Grenfell disaster apportions the bulk of the blame with the companies who manufactured and sold the flammable cladding and insulation. So the insulation and the cladding was on the outside. It was all flammable, so that you light a candle in that thing, it got the whole building goes up in flames within seconds because everything's flammable. It's just going to spread at an insane rate, and that's what happened. What has emerged from the inquiry is astonishing. You hardly need a degree in engineering to work out that it's not a good idea to wrap a tower block in combustible material. The manufacturers seem to have deliberately concealed the risk that their products posed. It's like, the manufacturers seem to have, that their products posed is something which is almost inevitably going to be picked over further in the courts. Why it has taken 7 years to produce this report, thereby holding up possible criminal cases, is itself a scandal. Like, why the hell has it taken so long when we know who's responsible? We know that they lied and concealed the risk of their products, but it's taken 17 years to produce a report to tell us what we already know. It's taken 7 years and now almost 8 before we can begin. Like this report is from September. Like the report was published in early September of last year, and still even now that's another 5 months before anything has been done about the report. Another 5 months where now it's outlining which company specifically is going to be in this report. So they gave them 5 months so that they could get their ducks in a row. So whoever's actually responsible just really isn't going to be held accountable. Really, nothing's going to happen to them. They should be imprisoned. If you lied, imagine you lie and you sell a material that's going to be wrapped around a how many stories was this building? Like 7 stories or more? I think 24. It was a high-rise flat, right? Like high-rise apartment. And you lie and say your material is safe. Meanwhile, this material is combustible. And that material is used to house people. And like this report says, like that's criminal. That's gross misconduct, manslaughter. And the reason and the fact it's taken 7 years to just produce a report that could possibly hold these people accountable, like let you know who's responsible, put it in a report so that it's solidified, so that the police can investigate. Really, they can investigate prior to this report. Like, I don't know about you, but investigations could be done. But they're saying the reason it's taken so long is because they had trouble communicating with those companies. Well, duh. I could have told you that. If a company finds out that they're responsible for one of the biggest tragedies or biggest disasters in the history of the UK, I wouldn't imagine they'd be so open and honest to tell you exactly what happened, to tell you and admit that they lied. I wouldn't imagine they'd be so forthcoming with information. But as you read on right here, as ever, with drawn out public inquiries, which always seems to be the case when it comes to Black people. When it comes to getting justice for Black people, it's always some drawn out public inquiry which takes forever, and then at the end of it, nothing happens anyway. Like no justice is handed, nothing really happens with it. It's just it's just a case. I guess it gets some publicity, I guess, but nobody's actually held accountable, right? As ever, without drawn out public inquiries, many of the guilty parties will no longer be around to face the music, at least not in the roles they held. Which is exactly what I said. Like the fact it takes you almost 8 years, the people in those roles are just going to leave and find new jobs. Like you stopping that particular company from doing business, but the people that are responsible are just going to go with another company and continue to make money and continue to never be held accountable. And they can just leave. And even another thing I looked up, let me get this real quick. How long is employee information kept for? Because okay, they could leave, but your information is kept for a time. The information's kept, so they could still find these people and bring them to justice. Well, let's read. According to UK regulations, employee information, particularly payroll records, should generally be kept for at least 3 years after the end of the tax year they relate to. As required by HMRC, however, depending on the type of information and potential legal implications, some records, like right to work documentation or data released to discrimination claims, like basically other information that's not to do with payroll, may need to be kept for a longer period, potentially up to 7 years after employment. Well, isn't that convenient that they can only legally keep information for up to 7 years after employment ends? And it's taken 7 years, over 7 years. They gave them an additional 5 months. It's taken 7 years or almost 8 years for an investigation to start. And those people could have just very easily found different roles, found different companies, and their information is only kept for a maximum of 7 years. For the most part, it's 6, but it's like, okay, we can stretch it for an extra 7 if it's needed. So again, like, what did Angela say? What did the deputy prime minister say at the beginning? What did she say at the beginning of this? Let me get this this thing real quick. Hold on, did it drop? Give me 1 second. Let me find this thing again, right? Angela Rayner, Daily Mail. Let me find the article again. Nope, this isn't the one. Slacky, give me 1 second. This video. Nope, this ain't the one. 7 businesses. All right here. I think this should be the one, right? Yeah, this is the one. Hold on. Share this article. She said they were doing everything they could, and they're trying to get justice. It's gonna play an ad. Damn it! Hold on. Of course, it's gonna play an ad.
Yoga. What do you say?
What do y'all say about
I'm
yoga?
keto, and you are
What do y'all say
enjoying my
about
classes.
yoga? Let me just move this. Whatever. Get this out of the way. I want this leaf. I don't think the government like being held accountable, y'all. Hold on, give me 1 second. Zoom out a little bit.
Be investigating those 7 companies for
Now
professional
they've
misconduct
investigated the
under the new
companies
Procurement Act,
those,
which came into
for
force
professional
last
misconduct.
week. So we'll be taking that forward. We've said that the way those companies reacted was absolutely disgraceful, what they did, and I outlined that in the chamber today. Reading the report from St Martin was absolutely devastating to see, and the lack of remorse by some of these companies is disgraceful. And I outlined that again today in my response to the report's findings. We're using every bit of legislation that we possibly can. The police.
Every bit of legislation. They're doing everything they can to give justice. But, it takes 7 years, and by that time, nobody's going to be working the same job. They're aware that they're going to be under fire, so they're going to, very simply just leave their job, find another one. The information's held for 7 years. And how long does it take them to start investigating? 7, 8 years? Interesting. So the government's doing everything. It's doing everything it can. That's why, this show is rightfully titled The Facade of Justice. They want to make you feel like, they're doing everything they can, and they're trying to get justice for those affected. They're absolutely not trying to get any justice. They haven't tried. They haven't damn near lifted a finger to try anything for 8 years. They haven't tried anything. And they will not try anything. They're just going to let those people skate by. The companies might face potential bans, but I think the company knows it's going to be our business. If you're responsible for one of the biggest fires in the history of the UK, I don't think other companies would be housing associations or people looking for cladding or insulation would be quite willing to go with your company specifically. I don't think the company had much prospects in becoming a rich and well-off company. I don't think it had much going on for itself personally. So, you know, banning them does absolutely nothing anyway. And, you know, the people who are actually responsible for making the decisions and lying and, you know, gross misconduct are just going to leave. They're not going to be in those same positions. They're not going to say, even if they were unaware that eventually after 8 years they were going to be held accountable. Like, how many of those people, you know, how many people do you know that stay in the same job after knowing the materials they provided caused one of the biggest fires in history of the UK? How many people do you think are going to stay in that job, even if they stay in that job for 8 years? To the point where they would be affected by anything the government is or the police are now saying they're going to do. They could, you know, they could face debarment. It's possible. Possible action comes. No justice is going to be served. No justice at all. Like, my brothers and sisters from the Windrush generation were unalived in this fire, and Black people are never going to receive justice. Black people in justice, that's just not something that's, unfortunately, we just not afforded justice in this kingdom. That's not something, you know, we could reasonably attain. It just doesn't exist for us. I think we as Black people, we've accepted that fact that all over the world, justice is just not a thing that Black people receive. It's just not, you know, we're not even accustomed to receiving justice. Like, it's a shock and a surprise when someone actually gets put in jail, when someone actually gets, you know, fired from their job or fined or anything actually happens. It's a surprise and a cause for celebration, because justice is so scarce for Black people. I'm sure there's people celebrating that the companies could be disbarred, but that's such a little thing. People were unalived, 72, including children. And the companies, which already their reputation is going to be, you know, through the mud, they face potential banning from government funding contracts. Like, y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. Do y'all see what I'm seeing? After 8 years, the 8 whole, you know, damn their whole years, right? This is the best they come up with. After years of the victims and the surviving families, you know, being in anguish, as she said, in anguish and pain and distress for over 7 years, almost 8 years, having received no justice. This is the best that they could come up with. Like, this is it. This is the grand finale. This is the, you know, we've investigated and we're gonna do something about it, guys. This is what we're doing. This is what you come up with. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. Salakia. Like, I'm maybe I'm tripping. Maybe this is justice. Maybe this is going to, you know, put those surviving families, and, you know, maybe this is going to put them at ease. Yeah, I know you lost a loved one. I know you lost your mother, your sister, your child. I know you lost your newborn baby. But look, these companies that lied and provided flammable insulation that caused this whole thing, they might be, you know, banned from government funding contracts. Maybe. I'm sure that puts them at ease. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure, you know, I'm sure they can rest easy now. I'm sure they're, you know, visiting the grave, visiting the grave site, which for a lot of people, the grave site is this building, because it went up in flames so quickly that you couldn't even, you know, there wasn't even enough to bury of some of these people. Their grave is in this building. They've got nothing left but ashes and a few bone fragments. That's the level of this thing. I'm sure those people, the families of the victims, are going to rest easy now that they've received justice, that the companies that lied and knowingly sold flammable materials are potentially going to be banned from government-funded contracts. You know, I'm sure they can rest easy. Let me see where we at. We got about 10 minutes left. Let me get a scripture real quick. I'm sure y'all know, I'm sure y'all know the one I'm going to. I'm sure y'all know already. Let me see if y'all could guess. Put in a comment if you know what scripture I'm going to go to. Drop a comment if you think y'all know what scripture I'm going to go to. Let me see how well y'all know me. Let me see how well y'all know of Surround by. All right. Let me see. I'm gonna check the TikTok. Do y'all know? You don't have to put the scripture word for word, but give me like paraphrase it. Let me see if y'all know exactly the verse I'm gonna go to. Let me see if y'all can guess. I'm gonna give y'all like 2 minutes or 1 minute. Nope, I ain't see anything yet. I'm gonna give y'all 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, no one's got it so far. Zechariah 11 and verse 5. Whose possessors slay them. These, government bodies, like this is the oppressor's kingdom. He owns these companies. He owns the government. He puts in the legislation that is supposed to keep us safe. It keeps, oppressors safe. It keeps white people safe. It keeps these other nations safe. These are people that owned us in slavery, and they still own us because we don't have a land to ourselves that we really own. We in this country, you come over here from Jamaica, from Trinidad, from wherever, you work for this oppressor and you pay his kingdom tax. This nation owns black people. America owns black people. It owns Hispanics. It owns Native Indians. They have to pay them tax. You're tributary to their kingdom. In other words, you're a servant. You might not be in shackles and chains and in bondage like you were a couple years ago. You're still being unalived by the police, though. You're still being racially profiled and battered and beaten and abused. And when you go to work and you try and earn to make a living, to feed your family, to put food in your son's mouth so they don't starve to death, when you work hard and do 2, 3, 4 jobs to keep the light on and the heating on in your house so you don't freeze to death and you're not stuck in darkness, every bit of money you make, you pay the oppressor because he owns you. And our possessors slay us. They slay us. They don't have the right regulation to have proper safety. They will lie and sell you, material that is combustible and results in your unaliving. These people slay you, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. They had absolutely no intention of holding anybody accountable, of, giving any justice to the people, of giving an actual, proper sentence because these people are guilty. They hold themselves not guilty. They'll, potentially ban the companies from doing business, but they hold themselves not guilty. Nobody's held accountable for the 72 lives that were taken. They hold themselves not guilty. That's your oppressor. All right, that's him, and no justice will ever be received, man. Like the day black people receive justice is the day Christ cracks the sky and comes down with millions of angels to give black people justice. You will never receive it from your oppressor. You will never receive it. Even in the Bible, it says, their eyes longed for their vain help. In longing, they looked for a nation that could not save them. Your oppressor, the so-called white man, will not save you. He will not give you justice. Never. All right. With that, that's my show. I hope you all enjoyed. All right. Again, Real-Time Revelations every Monday, every Thursday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. live on YouTube. live on TikTok. Be sure to like, drop a comment. If you ain't following the page or subscribe to the page, follow, subscribe, like, share, comment. You know what I'm saying? Do what we could do to push this so it reaches more people. All right, make sure y'all tune in tonight for the scripture breakdown class taught by Captain of 10,000 Karathia. You know what I'm saying? If you need anything about the Bible broken down, if you need, you're struggling with something, you need some counsel on it. You know what I'm saying? If it's general, bring it to the class. If it's something specific, get in the school, get counsel, pay your tithes. You know what I'm saying? Do what y'all how to do. And bring any questions, biblical, you know what I'm saying, anything you need broken down. If something's going on in the world, ask what is this is going on in the world. What does this mean? Bring that to the class and we'll break it down. The priests and prophets of the Most High and the ISUPK and the commanding general Yohana will break it down and give you the truth that you need. The truth that nobody will tell you except for the ISUPK. All right. With that, again, I hope you all enjoyed. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatam to all my brothers. Yahweh Shema Aratan Bashim Yahweh Shai to all my sisters. All right. Shalom.
I just float with it. Fuck what you did. I'm at your throat with it. You can learn something. Take a note with it. Dedicated my life. I took an oath with it. For the blood of my brothers, we don't do no switching. I run with who I run with, ain't no clicking. Try me, do you done with no decision. Lead a scene like a Mack truck with 4 collisions. Pose everywhere, but they ain't gon' vote this in. Coming at you live and direct, I don't